The movie is so pared down, moment by moment. I mean, it's so elegant, and there's not an extra shot or an extra line. And yet, everything is very complicated and ambiguous as far as the characters go. And that's so interesting, and
Well, this is a big, this is a big bugaboo of mine, watching what's happening lately, because I feel like you should have a reason for every shot, you should have a reason for every cut, and if you don't, then you're kind of, you've broken some sort of, I don't know if you've broken a contract with the audience, but you've broken a contract with me, because I feel like that's your job. The point is everything matters. Everything matters. So when you start throwing up shots and cuts in which I'm watching them as somebody who makes movies, and I just go, I don't understand what you're doing. Like what? This is just noise. Like, where's the signal? And that just makes me nuts. And what I loved about this piece of material was it was an incredible opportunity to just take it all down to the marrow and have scenes in which I could sit there as a director and go, how few shots do I need ultimately to make this scene work? Because more often than not, it was two. I'm not afraid to have two people sit in a room and have a conversation and have it be two shots if it's a good scene. I don't feel insecure about that. And so that doesn't mean that it has to be boring. It doesn't mean that it can't be stylish. It just means that you, as a director, you're supposed to sort of sit there and have the 30,000-foot view of the whole movie and be able to calibrate, how the shots and the cutting patterns are going to affect the audience. Like, I'll do a quick example. The first shrink scene with you two guys, right? So the first two compositions are sort of odd. We're above you. There's more negative space than you would normally have in a shot. There's more headroom than you would normally have in a shot. There's something not quite symmetrical about the two shots as the scene begins. Then she goes into her monologue about meeting Channing, and we do a diagonal drop in which the camera is still the same distance away from her, but when it lands, we're in a much more typical, symmetrical shot of her, and when I cut around to Jude, I'm matching that, and everything now seems to be back to normal in terms of the grammar that we're used to looking at when we watch a movie. So that to me, that's the job, right? Is to use these sort of elements that you have available to you to sort of start in one place. And an audience may never be able to articulate that. They may never notice it, but they know that there's something odd about those first two compositions, that they're not typical, but when the scene ends, we're calm, like we're back to par. And so that to me, that's what you're supposed to do as a director. And when I see something in which that has obviously never occurred to anyone, then I just go, well, what have you been looking at? I've gotten there because I've watched a lot of good movies that other people have made. That I'm standing on the shoulders of anybody who's ever made a good movie, and I'm stealing, from them. So that's the job, stealing.
Stephen, and why are you quitting directing? Based on everything you just said.
Because you know why? Because I don't ever want to be in a situation where that's the solve again. You know what I mean? Like, I can't use that again. I used it there. I can't use it again, and that was the last good idea I ever had.
Not true.
I swore I wasn't going to bring this up.